Hello, welcome to my video. I'm going to show you how to fly the A320, plan it and autopilot it all the way. What you're going to need is FSX with TOPCAT, P3D. Okay, first of all, I'm going to open up FSX and I'm going to plan my route. So I'm going to show you how to plan a route and then fly it, land it using autopilot and other functions. So I'm in FSX and I'm gonna add a flight now. So I'm gonna call my flight U2. It's gonna be standard because I'm gonna use the EasyJet A320. This one's pretty easy to get, and you get all the instruments, virtual cockpit on the A320 with Airbus extended. So doing that. So I'm gonna fly from Heathrow. I'm gonna find it. And I'm gonna go somewhere in Paris. Yeah, I'll go Heathrow and then I'll go to Charles de Gaulle. Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, so I found it, LFPG. I'm gonna, today I'm gonna do it about 2 o'clock, so I put it in. Save that, and now I'm gonna plan the flight. So I've just got it on random payload. So that's the passengers and cargo. And fuel wise, I'm gonna add an extra 30 minutes just in case I need to go round. And the route, I'm gonna optimize the route. So if you just go find, and it will find you routes through waypoints for you. I'm just going to have a look at the route. I'm going to note down the runway and the approach and departure. Just note it down on a piece of paper or type it in Word or something, and then print it out. So I'm going to add some alternates just in case it's not available. As this, if you were really flying plane, you would do alternates. And then you go find the route again. And you can do up to 4 if you want, but I'm just going to do 2 today. And yeah, just note most of this down because you're going to need it. Some of it's in the I'll show you how to print the flight plan out, but I just like to take notes of what's important. So the payload, cargo, and like the flight number and the approach and all that. I'm just verifying it. There might be some errors, but it's not a real big issue if there is errors. Just ignore them and you'll be fine. So I'm going to do the takeoff and performance. You're going to need TOPCAT with this as well. So you just go takeoff and calculate. Tell you what flaps to use, temperatures and all that. Note all that down, you need that. And that will again change the fuel, so you might need to make some corrections to your notes. Note that in the config, you want config 1 because you're going to need to put that in the MCDU in a few minutes. Just apply that. and as you can see, the fuel didn't change in there, but I'm going to do the same for landing. Calculate that again, note down what you need, especially the QNH and the temperature, because you need to input into the approach tab of the MCDU. Apply that again. Actually compute the flight first. Take note of this as well. This is the main thing: fuel, payload, and release fuel, and all that. I will note it down. You're going to need to put it in the MCDU. Weather's working now, so you can note that the weather if you want. Now I'm going to export it. Make sure you go into the make sure you put it in the actual directory, the flight simulator, and of your document folder, but in the Airbus extended and flight plans. It's got to be in there, otherwise it won't show up in the MCDU when you search for the flight plan to load up. And I'm also going to save the flight plan itself in my OneDrive so I can view it on my phone and copy the data into the MCDU. So that's it, it's ready to go. And I want to find out the transition altitude of the arrival airport. So I just put it in Google, and it's 4,000 feet. And note that down as well, because you're going to need to put that into the MCDU. And now I'm going to load up Prepared 3D. I'm going to change the vehicle to the EasyJet that are loaded up in the flight planner, and you go in flight planner and then you load it, and EGL LFPB G02, that's the one I saved. Press OK. If you want to have a look at the route, that's the route, yeah. Press OK. Yeah, move it to the airport. And I'm just going to straight on the runway, because air traffic control doesn't really work with the flight planner that well. So to avoid collisions, I'm going to just start on the runway. So I'm just going to load it up. Okay, so welcome to the A320. It's part of the Airbus extended pack, and that's A318, A319, A320 and A321. And a few basics just to show you first. So you've got the thrust lever, and if you increase it, 1 click is climb, 2 clicks is flex, and 3 clicks is toga. Now I'm going to go back to idle. And that's just so you know what I'm talking about. And then when we're talking about these bits here, these knobs here, so I'm just going to go in the instrument panel, and when you want altitude to be, it's called selected, you've got to have this circle next to it. So that means the navigation system is automatically autopiloting the altitude and all that, and the speed and heading from your flight plan. The same with altitude, and sometimes it doesn't use a circle, but throughout the thing you should increase or decrease it, even if it's not got a circle near it, like now, to the what the waypoint has the altitude at. So you push it in, right click, that is so it's selected, and your left click is managed. So left click manage means you're controlling it, right click you're giving it to the navigation system. And that's basically it for the thing. This is the glide scope button, autopilot 1 and autopilot 2, auto throttle and approach mode. And that's it. So let's start and look at the MCDU then. And A320 is pretty well to use, like the first plane pilots used to it. So I'm going to put the aircraft state into turnaround state. I'm going to open all the doors, and I'm going to go to load fuel on the right MCDU. This is packs is the number of people you got minus the children. So if I look at my notes, it's something like 26. Yeah. Cargoes 1,500 kilos, and fuel is 4,000 something. Oh no, you can't put it in that one. It's 4.7. Yeah, and you click on these right bits here and they will start loading. Now I'm going to go to the checklist and turn on the checklist to get the checklist on. And if you have a listen to the co-pilot, we should be all well and good. Cockpit preparation.
Cockpit preparation checklist.
Engine master.
Both off.
Engine mode selector.
Now while it's
Check
starting the
parking brake.
Off.
Press levers.
Idle.
I'm going to input the flight data.
Checked.
Anti-skid.
On.
So
Emergency
first
lights.
of all, I'm going to go to the initiation
No
page,
smoking signs.
On.
and
Air
I'm going to type
condition.
in my
Checked.
route. So
Ventilation
my
panel.
route is from
It's checked.
EGLL.
Pumps.
Set on.
Bed
Of
ears.
course, this
Checked.
will be
Checklist
the
complete.
airports you started up, and then slash LFPG, the one you want to create. And if the file was there, it should correct. Please wait. And it should be a flight number 0, cruising altitude. I'm going to do 270. Cost index 35 is standard. Yep. So that's the initiation page done. Now most of the waypoints should be loaded up, but I'm just going to go to the flight plan, and there might be some discontinuities which are caused because of the arrival waypoint way. So what I'm going to do is go LFPG arrival. I'm going to try and find the one that I want. So the runway I'm on is 9R. So I'm just going to go normal 9R. So select 09R if I can find it. Just keep, there we go. What's there? Yep, click on there. And the way I want to get into the airport from my notes is, I think it's 5p. So I found the one that ends in 5p. Obviously it's a bit more technical than that, but 5p is the one I want to go in if I want an easy flight. I think I'm going to go for the waypoint. Yeah, I'll go Kepler 5p. I'll insert that. Still got the flight plan discontinuity. So what I'm going to do is just going to press clear and the flight plan discontinuity, insert, and the flight plan should actually run smoothly now on the display. So I'm just going to have a look through there. No more flight plan discontinuities. Oh yeah, there's still one there. So I'm going to insert again. And there we go, insert. Right. Yep. Have a look through that. That's fine. I'll go back to the virtual cockpit. I'm going to change the display so it looks on plan. On plan. Yep. And I'm just going to sleuth through the route. Just check if it's all linking up. Yeah, it's all linking up. And you can see the runway there. It's linked up there. It's not quite straight, but that's not a problem. I can manually land that. Okay, that's all fine then. And the next step. Go back to this view here. I go initiation page. That's looking alright. I'll go in the performance page, and as you can remember from notes, I want configuration 1 for this runway, so I put configuration 1, and the climb phase is alright, and as you can see it says 1 up 0.8. Our transition altitude from Google is 4,000, so I input that. So I'm going to go back to the virtual cockpit, and I'm going to move the trim here to up 0.8 where the arrow goes, and that's set. And boarding's complete by now, so I'm just going to close all the doors. Oh, I've missed a door. And the door. Doors. And close that front cargo there. Alright, now let's go back to the checklist.
Before start checklist,
Windows and doors.
closed and locked,
APU.
set on,
APU fleet.
And now I'm just going to go through the checklist and take off.
set on,
External power.
disconnected and off,
Cabin signs.
set on,
Thrust levers.
idle,
parking brake.
Set on.
Bearer reference.
Checked. 1013.
1013. Check. Beacon lights.
Set on.
Checklist complete.
Flight deck to ground. Ground, we have ATC clearance for start and taxi now. Please confirm ground equipment and services are clear. OK.
Starting engine 2.
Engine 2 is stabilized.
Starting number 1.
Engine 1 is stabilized. That's a good start on both engines. All systems are normal. Thanks for your help and all clear. We'll see you for the signal on the right, please. After start checklist.
Engine mode selector.
Check normal.
APU bleed.
Set off.
APU master.
Set off.
Ground. Flight controls.
Full left. Full right. Neutral. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. Neutral.
Check. Flaps.
Flaps 1.
Anti-ice.
Off.
Beacon status.
Checked.
Beacon door page.
Checked.
Hand signal.
Received.
Checklist complete.
Taxiing checklist.
No flight.
Set on.
Brake check.
Pedal pressed. Checked 0.
Check. Auto brakes.
Max.
Takeoff data.
Reviewed.
FCU.
Checked.
Flight instruments.
Checked.
Check. TO config.
Set.
Checklist complete.
Flight attendants, seats for takeoff. Before takeoff checklist.
Brake temperature.
Checked.
Brake fans.
Off.
Engine mode selector.
Checked normal.
TCAS.
TARA, tilt above.
Exterior lights.
Set on.
Sliding tables.
Stowed.
Stowed. Checklist complete.
Takeoff.
All the way.
Man, flex, SRS and runway.
Check.
All the way. Listen to it.
Power set.
Checked.
Meet 1. Rotate.
Rotate. Not too much, not too much.
Positive climb.
Gear up.
Gear up.
Not too much, that's too much.
Navigation.
Check.
Traffic. Traffic.
Ignore that. Now I've just taken off, and so the navigation, it follows the navigation system. I'm going to turn on the first autopilot.
Autopilot
Gears
on.
Lights off.
You can let go. Auto thrust. Auto thrust is already engaged.
Flap 0.
Once it gets
Speed
to
check,
about
flap
4,500 feet, you can reduce the thrust decline. So that's one click back from
Climb thrust.
flex.
And the after takeoff checklist.
Engine mode selector.
Check normal.
Spoilers.
Now that alarm will keep
Disarmed.
Flaps.
it has to be in the
Check,
climb
tracked it.
thrust, otherwise that alarm will keep
Gear
going on.
up. Lights off.
Exterior lights.
Set
So
off.
now I've put it back in climb
Both
thrust
on.
and
Anti-ice.
Off.
it's
TCAS.
come off.
Checked.
Altimeter.
Standard.
Checklist complete.
And now it should just follow the navigation system. However, I do want to get to my cruising altitude, so I will increase the altitude, even though it's selected, to 27,000, just so it increases. And just let it fly. Once you get to 27,000, it will cruise, and we can do some other stuff. Until then, enjoy the ride. Autopilot. Hard to land it. But say autopilot it and then take autopilot off when you're ready. Anyway, I'll have a look. Yeah, 27,000. Maybe about an hour. sit here for an hour. Right, so now I'm going to go into the MCDU again. And I'm just going to set a radius around my airport so I know when to start descending. So what you do is you go to MCDU and you just go in any point and you want to go and fix info, and then you put in the airport code. So that for me, the arrival airport, LFPG. Yep. And then you put in the nautical mile radius. So that is your altitude, your cruising altitude, which mine is 27, I think. And you times that by 3. 27,000. So the altitude in thousands, 27 times 3. And then that's the nautical miles outside of the airport that you should start to descend. And as you can see on my nav, there is this dotted line, and that's the radius outside of the airport as to which I should start descent. I'm now approaching the radius. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my nav data, and each waypoint has its own altitude that it should be at. So just as a guide, I'm going to lower the altitude now, but make sure it's pushed in with the circle next to it, so it's still in selected mode rather than managed, but you're just making it a rough guideline on the altimeter. At this point you should probably turn your landing lights on. Now I'm at 14,000 feet and I'm about 14 nautical miles away from the airport. I'm going to press the LS button, which is the glide scope button, and I'm pressing this just so the altitude decreases at a constant rate, so when I get to the airport it lands. Okay, so I'm now approaching the decel phase, so I'm going to press the approach button, and I need to put in my, I should have done this earlier, but I'm going to put in the QNH, so that's the pressure of the arrival airport, and the temperature, which is 22 degrees as well, and that phase is ready to go. Now that co-pilot would have started speaking if I did put it in earlier, but I've forgotten. So I put it in now. Anyway, so the glide scope's on. Now for auto land to happen, we've got to make sure the second autopilot is on. So I've turned it on, approach mode and the glide scope, and it should happily auto land. Now I've just done flaps 1, just to slow the plane down a bit. As I've reached my decel point. And as you can see on my nav, I'm going to do a turn just as I enter the airport. So I've made sure the altitude is set to selected still, not managed. Now I just turned on flaps 2 configuration and flaps 3. And I think I did that a bit too early. Now I think I'm going a bit too low, so I'm going to increase the speed a little bit. And go up. But my auto throttle's turned off, so I've got to turn it back on. And reduce the speed back to climb. Now I want to land, so I'm going to put the flaps back on. Flaps 1, flaps 2. The glide scope's still on, the autopilot's still on, and the auto throttle's still on. And I'm gonna do flaps 3 again. And autopilot's still on, so it should do a turn right now. I'm gonna flaps 4, flaps, full flaps. And I'm going to lower the landing gear. I'm going to raise the nose a bit because I think I'm going a bit too low.
500.
Now, if you want it to not auto land, what you have to do is just take control of all the controls, and it should cancel the autopilot. So I'm just going to do it now.
Flight slow.
Speed. Autopilot on.
The autopilot's back on.
Second autopilot is on. Speed.
100.
Spoilers are armed.
70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard.
A bit of a bounce there.
5.
And we've landed. Reverse the thrust. Reverse the thrust. And we've landed successfully. No one's died. Just a minor hiccup on that bounce, but I thought it was going in a bit too much of an angle, and it was a pretty bit steep. But like I say, you just got to keep trusting the autopilot, and it usually does fly fine. If you interfere, sometimes it will go dodgy like that. And here we are in the Paris airport, LP. LFPG, I believe. I'm gonna put the flaps back in. So thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel and comment any improvements you'd like to make, and don't forget to like either. Thank you very much for watching, and see you later.